is that the macro numbers are, in some cases, changing. So operators, they're used to going to a particular macro for a particular report. They're going to have to get familiar with the new macro numbers. And again, Boatracs has grouped the macro or the forms together based on fishery plan. We'll start with macro 19. Okay, and it's in a notepad format because we're still working with the programmer. So I don't have a Boatracs simulator to share with you, but that's all right. You get to see what the forms look like. So you'll notice right at the top that the version of the activity reports for the declarations is going to be version 13. The current versions are for the declarations are version 12. So for the first page of the multi-species declaration, macro 19, which allows a declaration into the regular access program or the closed area 1 hook your haddock sap, there are no changes. I'm going to X out of that and move on. And I'm going to move pretty quickly, so if you got a question, you'll have to just catch me. Macro 20, second page of the groundfish or multi-species declaration. Again, no changes. This is for declarations into U.S.-Canada West or U.S.-Canada East. I do want to bring up something that my team often sees is people will declare in, an operator will declare into U.S.-Canada West when they in fact mean to declare into a U.S.-Canada East area. So they have to be very careful which part of this declaration menu they select. And you'll notice below U.S.-Canada East in these various areas that down at the bottom there is where they can flex out of U.S.-Canada East. Flex only applies to the eastern U.S.-Canada area. There's no such thing as a flex out of the western U.S.-Canada area. And you'll notice that the instructions for concurrent scallop day at sea trip were at the top for a monkfish option. Those details are found on the previous macro 19. Macro 21. There is a minor change to macro 21. It actually simplifies for the operators. Right under macro 21, by the way, is used for the B Day at Sea program. I realize this is only for common pool, but right below the note, there was a checkbox or check field for confirming that you're a common pool vessel. It's not required. This is only for use by common pool vessels. Other than that, the form is as before. That's macro 21. Macro 23, monkfish, and there are no changes there. And that's macro version 13.4. 24. 24 is the other declarations, and that's where you'll find surf clam, ocean quahog, herring, declare out of fishery, and now the new power down declaration, restricted use. And that's macro version 13.5. Okay, this is the first of the forms. The forms are version 7. For the groundfish catch report, it's macro 35, which is what it was before. And, we went over the changes. But you'll notice with the Boatracs macros that the format is a bit different. And you might wonder why that is. And I do want to, you might find this interesting or not, but with Boatracs, they're limited to 38 characters across a line, and they're limited to 600 lines of text. I think I brought that up in a previous conference call. Most of the Boatracs units out there have 800 lines, but there are a very small number, about 2 dozen, that are limited to 600 lines. With this VMS software change, we've been able to keep it at 600 lines, but those owners of those 24 vessels will have to replace those units for the next software change, whenever that will be. I don't have a timeline on that yet. It will accommodate this software change for 2011, but a future software change, they'll have to replace their unit. They may be eligible for reimbursement, and that's a good thing, but I wanted to make that clear. So because of the restriction of 38 characters in 600 lines, the instructions on the Boatrac form may look a little bit different than the instructions, say, on the SkyMate or the Tron, but the message is the same. Okay, so the instructions are at the bottom of the form with an important note below that. And that's macro 35.